Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny. I am a tropical Western astrologer, and today we're going to talk about the eclipse. That's right, it is eclipse season. We have got a full moon on steroids coming up. It is the full moon lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Pisces. It's happening on September the 7th at about 11:08 a.m. PST, just to where you live on the planet. Those are the specifics of it. The North Node is at 18 degrees of Pisces, and this lunar eclipse is at 15 degrees Pisces. So that's why it's a total lunar eclipse, because it's only 3 degrees away. So it's very close. This one is, in fact, a full moon on steroids. So we're going to talk about the astrology behind this full moon, how to navigate eclipses. And if you have been watching me, I have been doing daily astrology updates on my YouTube channel to help you navigate this energy, because frankly, eclipse season is quite something, isn't it? And it always is, no matter where the nodes are, no matter if it's a total or partial eclipse. Eclipse season always puts us on to new timelines. For some people, it's extremely jarring. For some people, the timeline shift is a huge leap. For some people, it's a huge closure and a huge new beginning. What does that mean? That means things like, loss of a job, loss of a relationship, getting ghosted by that friend of 30 years that you never thought that you would be ghosted by. And it's not all doom and gloom either. Like, boom, here is your soulmate. You have met him finally after all these years of dating and trying out the things, and finally, boom, here he is. It's also things like, okay, I've been on a fertility journey for over a decade, and boom, here is your pregnancy. It's things like this. It is the great eclipses are the great timeline shifters. Now, depending on your particular birth chart, it depends where it is hitting, the house placement of where it's hitting. So I'm going to be going through an all signs astrology forecast for you to dive deep. And I always do whole sign astrology in these forecasts, but it's up to you to learn. Look at your Placidus chart as well, because for instance, these particular nodes, these particular eclipses hit my angular houses, but not when you're looking at whole sign astrology, because I am a Scorpio rising, but it's basically like I'm listening as a Sagittarius rising when I listen to eclipse forecasts, because there's an inconjunct in my particular chart. So this is very astrological jargony. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, please do reach out to me, because if ever there was a time to get an astrology consultation, reading, to get some coaching with astrology, it would be during eclipse season, because these can really hit you. This can really get you onto that timeline that you have been waiting for, that you didn't even know you needed to be on, and it's all that jazz. I just want to go through. Eclipses go through cycles. Okay, so every 18 years, the nodes are in, the North Node is in Pisces and the South Node is in Virgo. Every 18 years. So at every 9-year mark, they're reversed. So the North Node is in Virgo and the South Node is in Pisces. So this is the eclipse cycle. I want to give out some years, and I want you to think back what was happening in your life. I'm not going back too far, but just think back. What were the themes? What happened in your life? And then look at your astrology birth chart and see, are you on the axis of the 10, the 4, the 1, the 7? Because if so, if these eclipses have hit your angular houses, which it does for me, huge, huge, huge changes happen in my life. I'm going to give you some real life personal examples so that you can know what I'm talking about. And again, such a great example of getting an astrology reading at the time of the eclipses. If these years, if major things happen in your life at the time of eclipses. So let's go back to 1987, 1989, the Pisces North Node. That's when the eclipses were with Pisces in the North Node, Virgo in the South Node, which is happening right now. So we're going back as far as 1987, 1989. Yeah, big changes in my life, but just wait, but just wait. Then they were reversed. So the Virgo North Node eclipses and the Pisces South Node eclipses. That was happening in 1997 to 1998. Okay, so it's give or take those years. So, you're looking at 1996, 97, 98, 99. Okay, you're looking because eclipse energy always goes out 6 months up to a year on either side, before and after. So yeah, in 1997, my dad died, and I am on the 10 and the 4 eclipse. So I'm on the 10th house and the 4th house. This is where Pisces and Virgo hit me personally, and that is the father house, career title, and house, home, family, property. Okay, so when they hit these angular houses, either 10 and 4 or 1 and 7, big, big changes. So I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I'm just telling you this is how pivotal and huge these eclipses can happen. So yes, in 1997, my dad died, and that was when the Virgo North Node. So it was the reverse of this, right? The next time that this eclipse cycle came up was in 2006 to 2008. So again, you're looking at around 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, because that's how eclipse energy works. It can be so jarring and so life-changing that you can give or take, but the actual Pisces North Node and Virgo South Node eclipses were 2006 to 2008. So for me, again, huge life changes there. I had two babies, so my first baby and my second baby, and I moved into my first house. So again, it's on that axis of house, home, property, family. And then I gave you the example of 1997 when my dad died, okay? Then the next eclipse in this eclipse series of Pisces and Virgo was 2015 to 2017 reverse. So Virgo North Node and Pisces was in the South Node. So again, look at your chart, what happened then. Now we are back again, 2024 to 2027. The Pisces is in North Node. We're having the eclipses again in this cycle. Pisces in the North Node, and it started September 17th, 2024, this particular cycle again, and it will end February 20th, 2027. So tell me about your chart. Did you have huge life changes during these eclipses? Almost to the date for me. My examples were almost to the date. When my dad died, when I bought the house, when the babies came. So it's just, again, when they hit your angular houses, you feel it. And I know this through looking at my Placidus chart. So this might sound very astrological, and if you're getting lost in the weeds, but you're like, holy moly, big life changes for me too, and you'd like me to dig into your chart, please do reach out. Now's the time because my prices are increasing October 1st. So if you want to book a one-on-one astrology reading with me, if you want to dive deep into my 4-month container of life coaching, I am a social worker. I've been doing life coaching for 20 plus years. I've got lots of tools that I can help you with, including QHHT. I'm a QHHT practitioner, so you can book with me there. And as well, I have a membership where we meet at the full moon and the new moon, and everyone gets a mini reading and also a tarot card pull. Okay, so back to this full moon total lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Pisces. So what falls? Do you have any planets at 15 degree around 15 degrees Pisces? And again, I do. I've got my Mercury at 17 degrees Pisces. So, and then the North Node is at 18 degrees Pisces. So holy moly, what's going to happen to me? I'm smiling as I record this before the actual eclipse has hit. So I would like to just say that it's a full moon on steroids. It is a full moon. The moon is full. So the sun and moon are always in opposition, no matter if it's an eclipse or just a regular old full moon. The full moon means the sun and the moon are in opposition to each other. Okay, so 15 degrees of Pisces is where the moon is, and the sun is at 15 degrees of Virgo down there with the south node, okay? So Jupiter is blessing this particular eclipse on September 7th. So Jupiter is one of the rulers of Pisces, okay? And Jupiter happens to be in Cancer right now, and Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. So many good things, right? Jupiter loves being in Cancer where it is, and it's trining this full moon on steroids, this lunar eclipse. Jupiter's one of the rulers of Pisces. It's like the universe is saying, you've got a lot of spiritual support here. So if there is a very jarring ending, because at full moons, always at a full moon, it's reached its fullness. It has reached an end point. There has been a culmination. There needs to be a door shut. It's a huge manifestation. It's a thing. It has come. It's like you planted the seeds at the new moon all that time ago, and now you are reaping your harvest. Okay? Go back, look at your new moon journal 6 months ago. Go back and look. What were you writing in your journal 6 months ago when the new moon was in Pisces? That's how the moon cycles work, right? So now here is a full moon on steroids. What has been manifested, what has come to a culmination point, what has come to an end point. You got the thing. The thing is here, right? And it's at 15 degrees Pisces. So look in your birth chart. Where is 15 degrees Pisces? What is the house placement? I'm going to go through that with you. We're going to go through the house system in a bit after I give you the astrology here so that you can find out the area of life. So for me, it's in the fourth house. Like I was just giving those real life examples, right? So for me, it's house, home, property stuff. So there's going to be a new house suddenly appearing in my life, something like that, or something to do with my family or something to do with my lineage, right? That's for me. But again, I'm going to help you go through your own birth chart. Jupiter is blessing you here. Jupiter loves to bring gifts. Jupiter is Santa Claus. Jupiter is the great benefic. Jupiter brings gifts and it's in Cancer. It's very watery. This moon is watery in Pisces. Jupiter is in Cancer, very watery. Water rules our emotions, our emotional health, our emotional intelligence. So if you don't get a tangible manifestation, a thing, you have the opportunity to be gifted a new emotional wellness, a new emotional way of looking at things. You have come to an end of a victim story. Let's put it that way. The victim story is over. It's come to its culmination point. It's come to its full ripeness. The door's being closed on that victim story. You now see it totally differently. You now see it like a Pisces. And with the North Node being in Pisces all this time, it has been encouraging us to be like a Pisces, like a high vibing Pisces. What is a high vibing Pisces? Pisces, extremely compassionate and understanding, empathy, and unconditional love, and loving it exactly as it has been, exactly as it was, exactly the way that it showed up. So, yes, that means the rascals in your life. And maybe you were stuck in a victim story of being a victim of narcissistic abuse. Maybe you were. Maybe you were stuck in that story and you would tell everyone. And you would tell everyone your story. And everyone would listen and they would agree. Now, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, and I'm not trying to say that there isn't abuse out there, because there is. And if you are in a physical, and if you are in an emotional, and if you are in a spiritually and a sexually abusive relationship, you get out, okay? You get out. And so when you have this kind of high vibing Pisces energy at a lunar eclipse, it's a full moon on steroids in Pisces, and the universe is urging us to go toward the Pisces mindset, towards the high vibing Pisces energy. Jupiter's there to gift you. You might be gifted with a whole new mindset. So this thing that ruled you, and you were stuck in post-traumatic stress because of it. You might have that extreme flipped mindset shift at the time of this lunar eclipse. And it's a gift from Jupiter, from Santa Claus, saying, you know what? You've been through it, you felt it, you did the shadow work, you went through it, you alchemized it, you transmuted it, and now it's completely flipped. It's now become your superpower. It's now you are grateful for the whole damn thing, the whole story. You are grateful for all of it. For a lot of people, that's what Jupiter is gifting you at the time of this full moon on steroids, this lunar eclipse, is a mindset shift that will set you free. And that is the timeline you're getting on, is the freedom timeline. Freedom from your monkey mind thoughts, because over in South Node, we're all being encouraged to get out of the shadow vibe of Virgo. I'm going to read through in my books. In my shadow work book and in my intro to astrology book, I go through what is high vibe, what is high vibe Virgo, what is high vibe, what is shadow vibe Virgo, and I do it for all the signs. So, for instance, I'm a hardcore Aries woman. I got my sun there, I got my Jupiter there. So I've done it all. I've been high vibing and I've been shadow vibing as an Aries. And, Aries shadow vibes are like immature brats. And yes, hello, I have done that many times. So I'm not picking on you Virgos at all. I'm not picking on you Virgos. I'm just saying when we look at the Virgo and when the south, wherever the south node is, the south node happens to be in Virgo right now. So we're all being encouraged to drop it, to drop shadow vibe Virgo stuff. Whether you're a Virgo or you have not even one placement in Virgo, we're all being encouraged. Everyone on the planet is being encouraged by the cosmos, by our spirit team, by source energy, by our everyday interactions. However, you want to label what is happening internally with your emotional intelligence, with your spiritual evolution, however you want to term that, we're all being encouraged by the South Node being in Virgo right now to drop the victim stories of a Virgo. And here goes. Here's shadow vibe Virgo stuff that we're all being asked to drop. And you too might drop these shadow vibey things that are very Virgo-y at the time of this full moon lunar eclipse. You too might be one of those people that can completely flip it and get you onto that timeline of freedom out of the monkey mind, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury rules our thoughts and our thinking. So it's very monkey mindish, very monkey mindish. You might drop the monkey mind crap that you've been maybe living your whole life, let alone the last couple of years. So here it is. Shadow vibe Virgo, workaholic, anxiety, hypochondriac, neat freak, germ fetish, picky, petty and trivial, skeptical, nitpicking, critical, fault finding, judgmental, perfectionist, worrisome, lacking confidence, obsessive compulsive, prudish, and self-denying. Okay, so I've done all these things and I don't have one planet in Virgo, so I'm not picking on the Virgos. Okay, so that was from my shadow work. I teach you how to do shadow work with astrology. So we're all being encouraged to drop all those shadow vibe Virgo-y things. And at the time with Jupiter trining this lunar eclipse, we might have that timeline shift, which has to do with a monkey mind mentality with all those shadow vibe things I just named. And it might get you onto a totally different timeline because you have dropped that programming. That's what shadow work does, by the way. It helps you identify the program that was sizzled in probably around by age 7, and then you've just been running on repeat, knee-jerk reaction to those triggers, knee-jerk reaction to those triggers until you become the observer of your life and realize, hey, I keep repeating that pattern and I'm going to rewrite that script. And so you have this opportunity with Jupiter blessing this full moon lunar eclipse. You might completely rewrite the script at the time of this lunar eclipse, and you'll reprogram. You've got a new program, and you accept that, sure, okay, I used to do that, but it's no longer part of my reality. I'm getting onto the freedom timeline. Freedom from a monkey mind. Freedom from monkey mind timeline. That might be the title of this video. Not to mention, there is a grand trine. So not in connection to the moon, but There's a grand trine happening at the same time as this lunar eclipse, and it's between Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Now, I keep talking about these outer planets that are changing signs this year. So, four of the five are changing time. Pluto started the whole party, so the fifth one started it in November of 2024. So with all these outer planets, which move very slowly, so for all of them to be changing signs within months of each other suggests new era, suggests this is the new Earth, suggests this is new paradigm, suggests that all of us should really should be hopping on to higher vibe timelines, and we're being urged strongly by the cosmos, our spirit team, source energy, God, whatever resonates for you. We're being encouraged, your intuition, we're being encouraged to drop the old stories, not tell one victim story anymore, and get on to the higher timelines. Okay. This particular full moon lunar eclipse is visible from where I am in British Columbia, Canada, and the United States Pacific Northwest, also Australia, East Asia, and lots of the Pacific Ocean. Okay, and so rule of thumb when it comes to eclipses, wherever the North Node is, again, it's this full moon in Pisces. Wherever the North Node is, that's where all of us as a collective are being encouraged to go toward and become like that. So you look at where is Pisces in your natal birth chart, and you've been urged by the cosmos to become like a Pisces in the natal birth chart, in the house placement of your natal birth chart. I'm going to go into that. Become like a Pisces. So if we were to look at high vibe of Pisces, what is a high vibing Pisces like? We're all being encouraged to be a high vibing Pisces. So let's look at the high vibe of Pisces. This is what a high vibing Pisces energy archetype is like. Mystical, dreams and dreamy, physicians and hospitals, medications and drugs, otherworldly, utopia, intuition, sensitive, compassionate, perceptive and receptive, boundless and unifying, flowing and imaginative, ethereal, transcendent, mediumistic, psychic and empathic, healer, gentle, surrendering, humble, unselfish. So again, that's from my shadow workbook. So it's very much let go, let goddess. It's very much live and let live. It's very much forgiving it all, forgiving even the rascals that did the damn thing to you. Okay. So, and we whenever it's a full moon normal without an eclipse on it, a full moon is always about releasing, surrendering, letting go. So this one's on steroids because it's an eclipse. Release, surrender, let go, close the door. The thing came in, the thing happened, and now we need to look at it like a high vibing Pisces. And so where are you being urged to look at it? Have a major mindset shift, get out of that monkey mindy, nitpicky thing of the Virgo, the shadow vibe Virgo. Where are you being urged to do this work? It's in the Pisces and the Virgo axis. So there's two houses involved in your natal birth chart. Now, again, I encourage you not only to find out the whole sign house placement of Pisces Virgo, but your Placidus. When it comes to eclipses, you really want to look deep into your chart. And for me, my Placidus tells the story of this Virgo and Pisces eclipse story that has been going on in my life in a big way since 1997 that I shared with you. Okay, so knowing your whole sign and your Placidus is really going to help. You're listening for your sun, moon, rising first, because rising tells the story of where in your life. So for me, again, it's 10-4, the 10 and 4 house placement, the father, the title, the house, home, property. And I gave you some very powerful examples of when my dad died, and then I bought my first house and I expanded my family by having two children in the 2006, 2008 time frame. I bought a house and I had two babies when when that hit my fourth house. When it hit my 10th house, my dad died. So again, when it hits those angular houses, huge stories unfold. And I'm not trying to scare anyone, but that's such a powerful example. Okay. And again, I have my Mercury right there on the angle too. So if you know the house placement and are there any planets around this 15-degree Pisces mark, and then down in the 15-degree Virgo mark as well. Okay, so I'm going to go through the house placements now. Then I'm going to pull a tarot and an oracle on this beautiful eclipse that is honestly, Jupiter's involved and wants to gift us. Are we emotionally, spiritually, physically able to receive the gifts from Jupiter? Because with Jupiter involved in an eclipse that is it's Pisces, and Jupiter rules Pisces. Honestly, this could be the timeline shift that could change everything for you if you're willing to keep your heart and your mind and your spirit available, open, ready to say goodbye what you need to say goodbye to say hello what you need to say hello to. What's coming in, what's going out. You always watch for that during an eclipse. Doesn't matter what sign the eclipses are in, if it's a total or a partial. What you're doing at the time of an eclipse is you're becoming the great observer of your life, and you observe what is coming in and you observe what is going out. If it's coming in, open your mind, open your heart. If it is leaving your life, a job, your boyfriend dumps you, the friend ghosts you, even if she's been your friend for 30 years. Okay. Been there, done that. I got lots of stories about all that as well. Not in this particular Pisces Virgo, but I met my husband at an eclipse, North Node eclipse. Okay. A friend that I had been friends with for 30 years, she ghosted me at a South Node eclipse. And so the rule of thumb is if it comes in, keep your heart and keep your mind open to it. If it leaves, even if it is so very shocking and you were not expecting this in your wildest dreams, you don't chase it and you bless it and you become like a Pisces and you forgive. And it doesn't mean you're like, oh, it's totally okay. You can treat me like crap. No, 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 no. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what you're doing is you're blessing it for what it taught you. Life is happening for you, not to you. It's that mentality. And you release it with love and you close the chapter. That's what you do at eclipses. You don't have to get out your pen and paper and do the mad manifestation work. You become the great observer of your life, what's coming in and what's going out. For some people, it might be very minimal. It might be very minimal. So I had an example. I was just filming with Joanna the healer on our podcast, Demystifying Divinity. And I was giving this funny story of how I had an incident at Costco and the bank and my bank card, and it just kept going and going and going and going and going. And it's this thing that could have really upset me and the old me, the immature me, because I am a hardcore Aries. We can be very immature and childish. So I'm not picking on Virgos, I want you to know. Um, would have been so super upset and it would have just put me in a tizzy, to quote my beautiful mother. And then, it would have taken me a long time to get over something. And it's so silly and it involves all these 3D things that mean nothing. It means nothing. Banking and lineups and upset people and all that stuff. For some people, eclipses is like that. You experience frustrations on the everyday level, and it's not this huge thing that completely changes your life. Although I did say that I was able to maneuver that whole Costco bank day with such grace and just realizing, oh, this is so funny. I could be so upset about this. So, if that is my only eclipse story, that I was just able to see it, become the great observer and just see this crazy day unfolding, one thing after the next. And I didn't get frustrated. I didn't get upset. I didn't raise my voice. I found it quite humorous that this silly thing just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. And I came home and I had a great day with the family and great family dinner with the kids, and everybody was fine. And I impressed the heck out of myself that I was able to keep my vibe high in such a low vibe situation all day long. So for some people, eclipse season is stuff like that. The universe is giving you something for you to completely switch your mindset on, get away from those low vibes of frustration or whatever, and get to a higher timeline. For some people, that it won't be this jarring step up. And for some people, you're going to get this thing. I was giving an example on another eclipse, not Pisces Virgo, but another eclipse at the North Node. I met my husband and I was like, whoa, there's an eclipse story for you. Something came into my life and I opened my mind and I opened my heart to it. So for some people, it all depends on your birth chart. So let's go through the houses, find out whole sign Placidus. You're listening for rising sign first. It'll tell you the area of life that's happening when you're listening to a rising sign. And then your sun, I feel like the older we get, the sun speaks to us more and more and more. Listen for your sun. This is your soul. Your sun is your soul in your astrology birth chart. And it can also indicate your career, just and the path that you're walking might not be the area of life. It might be, your rising and your sun can go hand in hand, but definitely listen for your rising first. It'll tell you the house, it'll tell you the area of life that is happening. Sun is your soul, and then listen for your moon as well, because this is your emotional wellness, your emotional intelligence, and it's more internal. So you might get a mindset shift. You would listen for your moon sign, it's more of an internal thing. It's not this physical manifestation thing. Okay. So Virgo, we start with you. Again, I am not picking on Virgos, and I love you, Virgo. I love, love, love Virgo. You are the earth angels. Virgo, you are the healers. Okay. I love you, Virgo. So I'm not picking on you. I was just saying that we are all being encouraged to drop the shadow vibe Virgo stuff. Okay. So Virgo, this is happening in your first house and your seventh. Okay. It's activating two houses for you, Virgo risings. So Virgo rising, first house and seventh house. Holy moly. This is the angular I was talking about when I was giving my examples. First, seventh, 10th, fourth. First, seventh, 10th, fourth. If the eclipses hit the angles, it's going to hit you. This one's going to hit you. So Virgo, the south node is in your first house. Okay. Which means that the north node's in your seventh. Okay. You're meant to go toward relationships. You're meant to open up to relationships. So ending relationships that are no longer serving you. Virgo rising. Ending business partnerships that are no longer serving you. Yes. Yes. It's your closest people. It's your closest people, or opening up to new ones. So you finally meet Mr. Right. Okay. You finally meet that business partner you've been waiting for. That best friend suddenly comes into your life. Okay, Virgo, because first house stuff, it's hitting you in the first house, and your south node is there. And so you're being asked to have a shift when it comes to anything in your life. First house rules it definitely rules your body. So you might have, some physical stuff come up that okay, I got to hit the gym again. Like I've ended up gaining all this weight. Oops. I didn't even realize it crept up on me, and it's time to get on the health routine. So maybe you've already felt this. Maybe it's already happened for you if you're a Virgo rising. You've already gotten healthy. You've already started the health routine. It's already started because, again, remember this particular eclipse season started on September 17th, 2024. So we had the first eclipse there, right? So, and it's going into 2027. So we already got a taste of it in September of 2024. So you already felt this call and you knew. And maybe, just maybe, the full moon's going to manifest for you. Oh, you get on the scale again, 10 pounds are gone, or something like this. It could have to do with your whole body. It could have to do with any area of your life, and you started to feel it back in September 17th of 2024, or give or take, of course, a month or so. And you knew you had to make some changes regarding yourself and your relationship with yourself. It's not just your body, it's not just your mindset, but it's the relationship that you have with yourself. And so maybe it could be self-talk, maybe you realize like I don't speak very kindly to myself. It could be stuff like that. And it has to do with the relationship with yourself. Maybe you have realized you were quite self-absorbed and you weren't thinking of your partners, your friends, your closest people, your husband. Maybe you weren't taking them into consideration because you're always looking at the axis at the eclipse. First and seventh is the me and the we houses. So relationships might really be shifted for you. Relationship with self, relationship with others. This one's hitting you in a big, big, big way, Virgo. It's a full moon on steroids. Might have reached some kind of culmination point with all those things I just said. You might need to close doors. You might need to end stuff. And it might be very jarring. Maybe it'll happen to you. Like maybe, your best friend ghosts you. Maybe your husband says, I am no longer being served in this relationship. So I'm not trying to scare anyone, right? Because the dream people might come in as well. It might be very jarring for you, is what I'm trying to say, Virgo rising people, because it's on your first and your seventh. And if it isn't a physical manifestation regarding the me, we axis, then it is a mindset shift that is extremely pivotal for you, getting you onto a new timeline regarding yourself, the way you feel about yourself and the way you feel about others. And you might have this huge breakthrough moment realizing that, you've been settling. You've been settling in relationships. And maybe there's no one around. Maybe you have no friends. Maybe you have no, life partners, but you have the mindset shift that you have been settling your whole life and you haven't been treated right by the people, the closest people in your life. So that huge mindset shift puts you onto the timeline, and then boom, you're going to meet your best friends, and then boom, you're going to meet your husband. It's stuff like this. So, maybe that was confusing, Virgo rising, but what I'm trying to say is this one's hitting you and it's hitting you big. So comment below what's been going on. And how about those years that I gave? Because again, this one hits my angular houses and huge things happened for me in those years. Tell me, did those years resonate with you? I'd love to hear your eclipse stories too. Okay, Libra rising. This is hitting your 12th and your sixth. Your 12th and your sixth house is Libra rising. What's the story there? Okay. So your south node's in the 12th. That's your subconscious blocks. That's your triggers. That's like how you always react. I've been doing this since I was a kid. And maybe something came up recently and you're realizing, I always react that way. That's it. I'm coming to an end. Or maybe a dream. Maybe you've had a repetitive dream because the 12th house rules are dream state. Maybe you've been writing a dream journal. You've been watching my daily astrology updates and you took my advice to have a dream journal right now. And maybe you realize this reoccurring dream, you finally decoded the reoccurring dream. And so what you do is you go down to the sixth house. This is what you need to open up to. You need to open up to sixth house things. You need to be a Pisces. You need to be like a high vibing Pisces in the sixth house. And so what does that mean? That means new things will come in the sixth house, like healers. Maybe you'll become a healer now. Maybe you will heal your physical body. Maybe you've had a reoccurring health issue and now you know how to heal your own body. maybe, just maybe, since this eclipse season, the one we're in right now, started September 17th, 2024, you started working out then. You felt the energy already. You're like, okay, I need to start taking care of my physical body. Okay. And so maybe you started a routine, a regular physical routine back then in September of 2024. And so now this full moon is illuminating how far you've come. And yeah, you're physically way stronger, or maybe emotionally way stronger, or maybe spiritually way stronger. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's showing how far you've come. Or maybe, just maybe, this full moon is showing you, okay, your mental health is really struggling because this is the body, mind, spirit house. The sixth house is your health. And so maybe, just maybe, something's coming up for you. And you're being asked to let go of the 12th house stuff. The 12th house stuff is where you need to forgive. Maybe, let it be. Maybe you are realizing I need to just let it be. And that thing that's been bothering me about that person or that circumstance, maybe I just need to let it go and not try to figure it out and control it. Maybe I just need to let it be. Maybe I do, so that my overall body, mind, spirit can be in top physical health. See how the houses work together, the 12th and the 6th. The 12th house is also things like hospitals. It's like the institutions, the hospitals, the orphanages, the prisons, right? And so if any of those are in your life, okay, Libra rising, and so there needs to be an ending there. Maybe you've been a nurse at a hospital and the job is ending. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go down to the sixth house and you're going to now become a holistic healer. Like that's just one example of how you're going to use the houses because you're all being encouraged to go toward the North Node energy in Pisces. And so it coincides with 12th house things and sixth house things for you. And a lot of it is about letting it go, closing the door, forgiving it all. And it doesn't mean it's saying what happened was okay, because maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was awful. But we're letting go of the stories and we're going toward becoming our own healer. We're healing our own wounds, healing our body, taking responsibility for our physical body, taking responsibility for our emotional health, our mental health, our spiritual health. We're doing daily spiritual things now. And it's the daily things we do, right? That are going to make all the difference. And it's those daily habits that become those atomic habits. So for you, Libra rising, it's all about 12th house, 6th house, and you might get great gifts because again, Jupiter's involved here. You might get great, great gifts. And you might no longer have that chronic health issue. Jupiter is gifting you. The sixth house is all about being a healer, and you might get the healer job. Say you were a nurse in the ER for years, and so now suddenly you get the dream nursing position that you've always wanted, and it's maybe not in the hospital or it's in a different level of the hospital, and it's actually way more suitable to what you want to do. So think of 12th house, think of sixth house, think of becoming the great Pisces healer because the sixth house is the healer house. Heal yourself and you heal the world. Okay, Scorpio, 11th house and 5th house. 11th house and 5th house. So now I am a Scorpio rising, and I was explaining throughout this video that my Placidus chart actually brings me to be more of like a Sag rising, where it's hitting the 10th and the 4th. So this is a great example of how these eclipses don't actually hit my 11th and 5th. They hit my 10th and my 4th. So you need to know if your whole sign and your Placidus line up with you. This is such a good example of that. But Scorpio rising, 11th house is where Virgo sits for you, and 5th house is where the North Node hits for you. So we're using the two houses in conjunction at eclipses because the South Node is in 11th. So for Scorpio risings, the 11th house is things like friends and groups. And so you might be feeling at the time of this eclipse, it's time to let go of friends that are no longer serving me, or maybe friends that have been friends of yours for a long time suddenly ghost you. You might get ghosted. You might need to ghost. Saturn, I've been giving daily updates, and we've been talking a lot about Saturn on my daily astrology updates about how Saturn's encouraging all of us to set boundaries, do the damn thing, build the new structures. And so for you, Scorpio risings, there might be a lot about setting boundaries with people and groups and friends. Um, and it's also things about the future, right? Like where do you see yourself? Where's your goals? Where are your goals? Where is greatest good for all? That's 11th house stuff. And so the South Node is there. So the South Node has been going through your 11th house. And so you've been asking yourself things like, where have I been maybe doing the shadow vibe Virgo stuff? With friends, with groups, with, not considering the greatest good for all. Like you're being asked to drop that and go toward fifth house things because the North Node is in Pisces in your fifth house. And the fifth house is the joy house. So for Scorpio risings, like this eclipse could bring you so much joy. And children, like say you are Scorpio rising, you've been trying to get pregnant, the fifth house rules, babies. So you might get pregnant after all this time of trying. Because Jupiter wants to gift you in the fifth house. The fifth house is like fun and joy. And maybe you haven't had any fun or joy for a long, 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 long time. And you're going to have that internal mindset shift. And joy is now yours. You're getting onto the timeline of joy. It's all things children, like I said. And so maybe if you already have babies and they're grown adults and you've been estranged from your grown children, well, then maybe, just maybe, you'll reconcile with them. You're being asked to forgive. You're being asked to let go. You're being asked to be like a high vibing Pisces, and the high vibing Pisces people are so compassionate and they're forgiving, right? And it's the let it be, let go, let goddess energy when it comes to children, when it comes to joy and fun and creative projects, is fifth house. And so there might be some big changes with the 11th and the fifth house for you, Scorpio rising. Okay. Sagittarius rising, 10th house, 4th house, 10th house, 4th house, Sagittarius rising. Now, I've been talking about this axis in my own personal life. I'm not a Sag rising, I'm a Scorpio rising, as I was explaining, but my Placidus chart hits very directly on the 10th and 4th with Pisces being in the 4th, and Virgo is in the 4th. So for you Sagittarius risings, this one's huge, just like the Virgo rising people. Sagittarius rising people, 10th house, 4th house. Okay, so Virgo's up there in the 10th, and you're being asked to change 10th house stuff. You've been encouraged by the cosmos, source energy, your higher self, your intuition, your guides, whatever you want to call it, to switch up the 10th house stuff. 10th house stuff is your relationship with your father, being a father, bosses and CEOs. It's also your title. So from Ms. to Mrs., that's a title change. Also, a title change is assistant to CEO. Also, the 10th house is your career. Okay. So with the South Node going through your 10th, you've been asked to give it a change. Think high vibing as opposed to not being nitpicky with your dad. Okay. Or not being, having some discernment. That's high vibing Virgo, having some discernment with all the 10th house stuff. And the gifts are coming from the 4th house. So down in the 4th house is where Pisces is. We're all being encouraged to be like a Pisces. So where's the gift coming from? Something that happens in your home. Maybe you're being encouraged to change the career to work from your home. Do you see what I mean? See how that can change? Or change your career and include a family member, or, think about family, or change your hours at work to suit your children's needs. Things like this. The 10th and the 4th work together when it comes to eclipses. So there's gifts coming in. There's a gift coming in from the 4th house, and that is Pisces. That's where Pisces is, right? And so Pisces is there in your fourth house, giving a gift. So maybe you'll get a new house, home, or property, and real estate might change, right? Because that's fourth house. Maybe it's something with your mother. Maybe you'll become a mother. That happened to me in the fourth house, right? Because fourth house rules the mother, and maybe you'll become a mother, or you'll change your relationship with your own mother, or maybe you'll have a mindset shift regarding your own mother, and maybe you've been estranged from your mother all this time. Now you won't be. Again, it's house, home, property, real estate, but it's also your family lineage. It is your mother. It is becoming a mother. So 10th house is dad, fourth house is mom. So family stuff is on the 10th and 4th for sure. And you might start a family like I did. And I gave you my 10th and my fourth house stories of the eclipses. But with the full moon in the fourth, Sagittarius, there is a culmination. It is a full moon on steroids showing you something about your fourth house. It could be your family wounding that is now you've had a major mindset shift and you're the person in your family lineage that changed the family story. You're changing the programming. The gift is coming in to your fourth house. So tell us your story, Sag rising. Capricorn rising, it's hitting your ninth house and your third house. Ninth house and third house. So Virgo is in your ninth, okay? And you're going toward the full moon is in your third. That's for you, Capricorn rising. So what's coming to culmination from your in your third house? That's third house is the junk drawer. It's the way you think, it's the way you speak, but it's also things like your neighbors in your neighborhood. Yes, it is. You might change a neighborhood, right? There might be a gift from Jupiter and you're moving to a new neighborhood. There might be a gift from Jupiter and you're changing your mindset because this is where Pisces is. This is where you're being urged to follow. It's go toward third house things. Maybe siblings or friends that feel like siblings. That's also third house, okay? It's also short distance travel, traveling within your province, your state, or within your own country, okay? It's also your transportation, your car, your scooters, your bikes, okay? So it's a lot of things, the third house, as you can hear. But Capricorn rising, you've got your south node in the ninth. And so you've been encouraged by the cosmos, by source energy, by your intuition, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, to rethink your beliefs. Because ninth house is your spiritual beliefs. And it is if you are religious or if you are spiritual, right? And it's also asking you to, if you go on an overseas travel, it's all about foreigners and foreign countries. So maybe you've been called to travel to another country so that you can have a huge mindset shift, right? It'll change everything for you to put you on that timeline to your future self so that you can get gifted in the third house, a new neighborhood, uh, family comes back into your life. That's, your cousins, your siblings and your best friends that feel like cousins and siblings, right? You're getting gifted in the third house. And the third house also is what you're writing and what you're thinking and what you're saying. So start that podcast, write that book, all that jazz, right? That's for you, Capricorn rising, okay? Aquarius rising, this is hitting your eighth house and your second house, your eighth house and your second house. Okay, so Aquarius rising. You've got your South Node in the eighth. And so you've been encouraged by the cosmos, by the planets, by source energy, by God, by your intuition, whatever you want, higher self, whatever you want to say, to have some discernment about eighth house things. And you've been encouraged to go towards second house things. This is where the full moon in Pisces is showing up for you. It's showing up in your second house. And so you need to open your heart and open your mind to second house things. This is your self-worth. Once you know your worth, your money flows. The second house is a money house. The eighth house is a money house. The second house is the money you earn. You know your worth. You know you are worthy of making all the money, and the money comes in your bank. Once you know your worth, it's a cycle. Once you know your worth, the money comes flowing in. So if you're an Aquarius rising, these nodes have been hitting your money houses because the eighth house, you've been asked to have some discernment Think like a Pisces a little bit more regarding eighth house money stuff. So the money that you invest with your spouse, your taxes, wherever you invest your money, your inheritance money. It's the chunky money house. The eighth house is also your transformation house, how you transform as a human. So you couldn't go back to being the caterpillar because you're now the butterfly. You know, it's the phoenix rising from the ashes house. So you're being asked to drop the stories regarding chunky money, regarding investments, drop the stories regarding I couldn't transform, I'm too old, I'm too fat, or whatever it is you're telling yourself. That's silly, isn't it? Because you're being asked to go toward your self-worth in the second house. And there's going to be a gift from Jupiter at this full moon on steroids at this eclipse in your second house, and money might appear suddenly in your bank account. Wouldn't that be lovely, Aquarius rising? Or suddenly, just suddenly, you've had a total mindset shift regarding your self-worth, and it's going to change everything. It's going to put you on that timeline toward your future self. Okay, Pisces rising. This is hitting your seventh house and your first house. Pisces rising, seventh house, and first house. So it's a very similar story to Virgo rising people because it's the same axis, right? But Pisces, you've got this full moon in your first house. Okay. You're being asked, if you're a Pisces rising, you're being asked to go toward you. Change the stories, have some compassion for you because you're so compassionate for everybody else. Because the seventh house is where your south node has been, and it's in there right now. It's been going through there. It has an 18-month cycle, right? So the south node has been going through your relationship house. So if you're a Pisces rising, you might have been really cleaning up your relationships, and relationships might have been cleaning up. If you catch my drift, relationships might have ended and they might be ending. And I'm not trying to scare you, right? But if your marriage is not serving you and you are a Pisces rising, you might have a very jarring timeline shift. If your best friends are not serving you, Pisces rising people, you might have a very jarring, it might be very jarring for a lot of people, these eclipses, right? But please do know that, when you're when you're on the angular houses, so it's hitting your first and your seventh, right? Or your 10th and your fourth. For you, it's your first and your seventh. Whenever these eclipses hit those angular houses, they hit strong. Okay, so please do know if it's coming in, keep your mind and your heart open. If it's leaving your life, let it go. You don't chase it. You bless it. You thank it. You become high vibing Pisces. You know high vibing Pisces energy. You walk around like this. You're a Pisces rising, for crying out loud. This is how you walk around. This is how people see you. Your rising sign is the way that people see you, and you are a very forgiving person. So it's not saying that those relationships that were awful to you and the people that were awful to you, you're not saying, oh, it's okay, you were awful to me. No, you're not saying that. What you're saying is, okay, I can let it go. I can let Goddess, I can let it be. I can say goodbye with love in my heart still. You have not broken me. I am not broken. I never was broken. And that's the me we axis. Knowing you never were broken and no relationship is ever going to fulfill you because you already are whole. That's happening for you, Pisces, and it's a big one. Aries, sixth house, 12th house. Aries, rising, sixth house, 12th house. So it's the same. I went over the Libra, and it's the same 12th house, 6th house, 12th house, 6th house. Okay. So your north node, Aries, sorry, your south node, Aries, is in the 6th. So with your south node going through your sixth, this is all about like dropping the daily things that are no longer working for you. Not only it's not serving your body, but it's not serving your mind, it's not serving your spirit. So with the south node going through your sixth, you've been encouraged, and you are being encouraged in a big way at this eclipse to drop what is no longer healthy, and you're being asked to go toward 12th house things. So be like a Pisces. 12th house is ruled by Pisces, and Pisces are the most forgiving, the most compassionate, the most empathetic souls. So Aries rising, It's all about letting go, letting God ask, let it be, drop it, so that you can get onto this new timeline of freedom. You can let go now. You can let it go, and your health will improve because it's affecting your sixth house, which is your health, body, mind, and spirit. Your physical vessel can improve if you let it go. Your mental health can improve if you let it go and just let it be. And your spiritual wellness, your spiritual evolution as a soul will improve if you can just let it go, if you can let it be, if you can rest, if you can learn to just rest and you don't need to perform. You don't need to tap dance for anyone to love you. You don't need to get the job done so that you can prove your worth. You need to rest, take care of yourself, take care of your body, mind, and spirit. That's what's happening for you, Aries rising. It's a big one. Taurus rising, fifth house and 11th house. Taurus rising, fifth house and 11th house. So it's the same as a Scorpio rising, but backwards, right? Taurus, we're going to use both houses. We use both houses when it comes to eclipse season. So your south node has been in the fifth house, and that's where it is. Your south node is in the fifth. So you're really being asked, Taurus rising, to drop what's no longer serving you regarding fifth house stuff. So stuff with your children, if you have kids, drop it. Like if you're being too nitpicky with your kids, definitely it's not serving. Have some discernment with your kids, okay? Have some discernment about your fun. Do you have any fun anymore, Taurus rising? With your south node going through your house of joy and fun, like did you forget about fun? The other thing is about the fifth house is your creative projects. Have you been, like, I know you're very creative, okay? So have you been doing the creative projects? Or did you drop that? Have you, say you're an amazing painter and you just haven't been painting? What you're being asked, Taurus rising, is to go toward 11th house things and be like a Pisces and to definitely use the fifth house, joy, fun, creative projects, children, and go toward 11th house things. So friendships that support you, Taurus rising. Friends, groups of people that are there for you and greatest good for all. These are your people. Have you found your people, Taurus rising? You're being encouraged strongly to have some discernment. If you've been just hanging out with people that are just all fun and games, drinking buddies, that's fifth house energy, low vibe and fifth house energy. Or people that are just like feeding your ego, just saying what you want to hear. They're just saying what you want to hear, but they're not telling you the truth. Those are not your people. Your people are up there in the 11th house, Taurus rising. These are the people that are going to help you get onto timelines of truth, authenticity, get you to your highest timeline. So you're looking at your friendships, Taurus rising, and shit might come in and out. Like you might lose your friends at the time of this full moon, lunar eclipse. You might lose your friends that you've been hanging out with. It is like, no, really, it's getting you onto a timeline with better friends, your people. So always keep that in mind when it comes to eclipses. What comes in, accept it with an open mind, open heart. What is leaving, forgive, let go, let goddess be like the Pisces and just let it be. Okay. So 11th house Taurus, you're being encouraged. This is where your full moon is showing up regarding friendships, regarding groups, your biggest hopes and wishes and dreams. You could get some Jupiter luck. You could get some beautiful things that will help you get to the future because the 11th house is the future. It's also inventions. It is medical advancements. It's, AI advancements. It is the future. It's your future self. It's your highest timeline. Keep your mind and your heart open. And if the friends are holding you down, you need to give that a look. Keep your mind and your heart open to your people. They're waiting for you. Gemini rising, fourth house, 10th house. Gemini rising, fourth house and 10th house. So it's the same story as the Sagittarius, just flipped. So Gemini rising, this is hitting your angular houses. So I'm always talking about if these eclipses hit your first, seventh, 10th, fourth, first, seventh, 10th, fourth, buckle up. You're going to see a story here unfolding in your life. And so for you, Gemini rising, it's hitting the fourth and the 10th. So your south node is in the fourth. So that's that family stuff, those family wounds. You've been asked with the south node going through your fourth to rewrite the script, no longer carry those family wounds, change, heal your family, heal yourself first and foremost. You heal your whole family lineage. It could be stuff like that. It could be stuff with your mom, could be becoming a mother, could be about your mother, could be about house, home, and property. And so there's a gift for you up in the 10th house. A new title, Ms. to Mrs., a new title, assistant to CEO, a new title regarding your career, regarding your public status. There could be a gift for you up there regarding your father. The 10th house is the father. You could become a father, at an eclipse in the 10th. But it is your career. The 10th house is your career. So maybe you got the job. You finally got a job. Jupiter's bringing it in. Okay, and maybe the fourth house is helping you. Your family is helping you get the job. So they work together. If you can become like a Pisces, very compassionate, very forgiving. You're not saying what they did was right. And you're not saying it's okay to be treated poorly. You're not saying that. You're just forgiving. You're letting it be. You're thanking it for the lessons. Life happens for you, not to you. Dropping all the victim stories so that you can get onto the new timeline. There's a beautiful new timeline for you in Gemini rising. It's a big one because it's hitting those angular houses. Tell me it's going on in your eclipse story. Cancer rising, third house, ninth house. Cancer rising, third house, ninth house. So it's the same as Capricorn, using the ninth and the third houses, okay, but flipping it. So for you, Cancer rising, this is what's been happening for you. The South Node's been going through your third house. This is, it's asking you for some discernment, some changes. The South Node, wherever it is, it's asking for you to drop the shadow vibe Virgo stuff regarding your third house so that you can get to the ninth house. So you could be gifted in the ninth house, and you might be getting a big gift in the ninth house when it comes to this particular eclipse. The ninth house, the gift from Jupiter, ninth house is foreigners, foreign travel. So taking that trip, and you go on the trip and it's like, oh, here it is. This is exactly what I get, a huge gift. It could be a massive mindset shift because the ninth house is your beliefs. It is your spirituality. It is your spiritual belief system. And it happened because you went to an overseas place, or you met with a foreigner, or you met with a guru, or you've been working with a spiritual coach or a life coach, or you wrote the book, you published the book, that's ninth house. Or there's some kind of a publishing, you're going to get a publishing deal because it's the ninth house is the publishing house. And then you're being asked to work with the third house. So the third house is a lot of things, but it's your communication, it's your writing, it's your speaking, it's your talking, and it's the what you're writing. It's also your neighbors, your neighborhood. It's also your cousins and your siblings and your best friends that feel like cousins and siblings. It's also your car, your vehicle, your scooter, your bike. It's also short distance travel, travel within your province, state, or country. So you're using the third and the ninth house to have some discernment, drop what's no longer serving you, go toward a new belief system, publish the book. And for you, it might be a huge mindset shift, giving you a whole new belief system because the ninth house is your belief system. It is your faith, and you might get unshakable faith from this eclipse. And last but not least, Leo, second house, eighth house. Leo rising, second house, eighth house. So it's the same as Aquarius, but we're flipping it and we work together with these two houses because this is where the nodes are working in your life. So Leo, you've got your south node going through your second house. And so this is what we're being asked to drop the old victim stories, drop the old nitpickiness, to drop it regarding your second house. And your second house is all about your self-worth, knowing your worth. And do you know your worth? Because when you know your worth, that's the cycle of money. The second and the eighth house are money houses, right? The second house is the money you make, you put into your own bank account because you earned it, because you know your worth. And it's a cycle. It's a cycle. The second house is all about that cycle of worth and worthiness. And so maybe you've been urged strongly by the South Node in Virgo going through your second to work on your worthiness, know your worth. Doesn't matter what you do, what you say. You don't have to perform. You don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to be anything but yourself, because you are worthy, because it's your birthright to be loved, right? And so maybe you've been really working on your self-worth, and maybe you've really been working on your income, the money that you're making, flipping all those money wounds, flipping the script, rewriting the script on, money matters so that you can go toward eighth house things. And eighth house things is the chunky money. This is where the full moon lunar eclipse is gifting you from, thanks to Jupiter. Chunky money stuff, investments you've made with your husband, with your partner in life, um, inheritance that you've gained from family or whoever. It's taxes and tax returns. So it's the money house, and you're being gifted by Jupiter regarding a mortgage or any kind of investment. Then it's also the transformation house. So, like, maybe you've been working on this self-worth and you've known it and you've felt, yeah, I got to work on my worth. I got to work on the way I speak to myself, the way I see myself. And I'm going to work on my own money, and I'm going to work on my money wounds. And I know I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. So that when you get this full moon on steroids in your eighth house, it shows you how you've become the butterfly. You are no longer the caterpillar. It shows you how you are the phoenix now rising from the ash. You've completely transformed your life. And this full moon is sharing that with you, how far you've come, the transformations, the investments you've made. The eighth house is also your sex life. So maybe you haven't had a sex life, and there is some kind of a huge transformation for you there as well. Okay, so we've just gone through all 12 rising signs is what we went through. And so I've encouraged you strongly to find out if it's your whole sign, rising sign, or perhaps you need to look at your Placidus birth chart. So if now that sounds like I'm talking Greek, then please do reach out to me. Now is a great time to book a reading with me because my prices will be increasing in October. And no better time to really dig into your chart than eclipse season, because if you have those angular houses I keep talking about, first, seventh, fourth, and 10th, and if you've got an eclipse happening on those, you might not know it if you're not looking at your Placidus chart. That's the case for my particular birth chart, and I'm happy to help you dig into your own birth chart and to see where this eclipse story is unfolding. We've gone through, we went back to 1987 and 89 when it didn't start. This eclipse cycle did not start back then, but I went back as far as the 80s when the Pisces North Node was there. Pisces was in the North Node again, 2006 to 2008. And now the Pisces North Node is there again with these eclipses. Started September 17th. We got a tiny little glimpse of what this eclipse season's going to be like until February 20th, 2027. So I hope that my astrology didn't get too jargony. I hope that looking through where this is hitting in your birth chart has given you some clarity. But I will say that, out of the two eclipses of September, this one feels pretty nice on September 7th with Jupiter blessing with a trine. So is your heart and your mind open to the blessing? There's also a grand trine with Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto involved, not on the moon, but happening in the heavens at the same time as this eclipse. So one can't help but notice that the cosmos, our higher self, our intuition, source energy, God, our angels, whatever it resonates for you, someone out there is trying to help us. And it might feel very jarring, and something might end, and something new might come in, because that's often the case at eclipses. Eclipses are the great timeline shifters. They're very destined. They're very fated. It's got destiny written all over it. And so one can't help but notice that out of the two eclipses in September, this one seems to be pretty nice. Is your heart and your mind open for the change? Change can be very difficult, but it's the only constant in the world. It's funny when you really do look at it, when you really look at it. The only constant in life is change, and eclipses bring change. And so, are you open to the change that this eclipse is bringing into your life? Because honestly, it's trying to get you onto a higher timeline. It's trying to evolve your soul. It's trying to advance your life. And so, are you willing, able, and open to this change? And now, here is the card for this eclipse. I've got the Chariot in reverse. Okay, so the Chariot is a major arcana. And so whenever a major arcana shows up in a reading, you're like, you take note, because the minors, they're a message and that's nice. But a major arcana is saying, look, listen, it's the Chariot. And so you'll see it's a two-headed horse. The Chariot is a two-headed horse, meaning there are two ways you can go. You're in the heavens. This two-headed horse is up in the heavens. And look, the moon's behind. It's so telling, isn't it? There are two roads you can take. I mean, this is every day of your life, of course. Any day you are given opportunities. I gave you an example of how I went to Costco and there was a bank card incident, and then I had to go to the bank, and then I had to go back to Costco, and I had to wait in lineups, and there was no parking, and da, 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 da. It was a series of events in one day that were just, it could have really put you into a tizzy, to quote my beautiful mother. But I actually saw it as a very funny, everyday thing, and I kept my vibes high, and I was so darn proud of myself. And I had a fantastic dinner with my family. And, you can make that decision to keep your vibes high no matter what is happening in your life. Now, that's a silly example, but non-silly examples could be things like your boyfriend dumps you, your husband leaves you, you lose your job. Things like this happen at eclipses. And I'm not trying to scare anyone, but this Chariot card is saying you have two roads you can take. You can take the dark path, if you will. You can take the light path. No judgment. There's no judgment from the universe which road you take, but there will be a choice point. There will be an opportunity given. And the veils are so thin at eclipses, meaning the heavens are helping. The heavens are helping. Now we got this card in reverse, so it's like a lot of people don't see this yet. I've got people following me on you can see who watches me. Some people from my past that haven't talked to me in years. And I know they're judging me, and that's fine. That says more about them than it does about me, right? So I know that they're watching me and they don't like anything that I post. They never give me any kind of encouragement, but yet they watch every single thing that I do, right? And so I think there's something that I'm saying that is resonating with them, even though they are still judging me and holding me to a certain level that they think I'm at, but I'm not that person that they think that I am. So I think it can be very confusing for a lot of people when you talk about this kind of stuff. The veils are thinning, getting onto a new timeline, look at your astrology birth chart. It does sound woo-woo to a lot of people, but there's something that's resonating with what I'm saying. If you're watching, if you're listening to channels like mine and to Demystifying Divinity like I do with Joanna, like there's something that's hitting. And I think for a lot of people, this is where you're at. Like there's something there. I'm kind of making fun of what they're saying. It kind of sounds like hogwash, But maybe, just just maybe, there is a better way and there is spiritual support. And maybe, just maybe, I do have a spirit team up there in the heavens offering a higher timeline than this. And maybe there's more to life than this. And I think that that chariot card really speaks to that. The veils are thin. There are going to be opportunities for a different way of thinking, for a different way of life. And it might not come in with a pretty rainbow. I was saying Jupiter is like Santa Claus, and it might not seem like a gift from Santa. In fact, it might feel like a lump of coal. But please know, it is your guides, source energy, your intuition, your higher self, or whoever you want to think it is, bringing in something much better. Now, here's the oracle card for this eclipse. You've got Sarada Devi, the Divine Mother. Unconditional love exists within me. That it never before has there been a more Pisces saying than unconditional love exists within me. The presence of love is the absence of judgment. Oh, and wasn't I just talking about how the people from my past are still judging me? And isn't that cute? Isn't that just cute? And be like Sarada Devi, the Divine Mother. Drop the judgments, judgments of others, judgment of self. Drop the judgments so that you can get onto a new timeline, so that you can open your mind, so that you can open your heart, and new people will find you. Your people will find you. You can find your people. You'll become magnetic to your people. You'll become magnetic to the community that you belong in and to the timeline that's going to get you to your highest vision in life. But you've got to be like this divine mother and drop the judgments and stop judging others, stop judging yourself, and have a forgiving and a compassionate heart like these North Node lunar eclipses at this one at September 7th is encouraging all of us to do. There is a gift there for you. Now, it might be a tangible, manifested gift from Jupiter that is part of this eclipse story, or it might be that mindset shift that will change everything for you. Whatever it is, if it's coming into your life, keep your mind and your heart open. If it's leaving your life, let it be, let it go, send it love, and move on. Okay, I would love to hear your eclipse stories. I shared mine with you. I hope they were powerful examples of how powerful eclipses can be. If you have questions about your whole sign versus Placidus or any questions about your chart, please do reach out. So excited to share this eclipse video with you. Share with me where is this eclipse hitting your chart? What is your eclipse story of this particular eclipse cycle? Wishing you a blessed lunar eclipse.